time bomb. Always seem to get the time wrong. Time wrong, I blow up and then they're all gone, all gone. So sick of saying hold on, hold on. A broken state, shaking the ground beneath, running from everything, seems to be the path I lead. And now I'm beating on the floor, wondering why I feel like a ticking time bomb. Time bomb, always seem to get the time wrong. Time wrong, I blow up and then they're all gone, all gone. So sick of saying hold on, hold on. I took a shot on hoping I never change. I wonder why I'm always broken. Stuck in time just like I'm frozen, frozen. Now I'm slowly thinking, a product of overthinking again. Hold it in and change my breathing. Settle down and stop repeating amends. I feel like a ticking time bomb. Time bomb, always seem to get the time wrong. Time wrong, I blow up and then they're all gone, all gone. So sick of saying hold on, hold on. I feel like a ticking time bomb.
Good evening, everybody. Apologies for being slightly late. Welcome to another Touchline Talk at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday and every single Friday with your boy, LNobbins. There was no content over Wolves. Well, I did do an analysis video, but over the weekend there wasn't. There was going to be a post-mortem, and then I got my dates wrong. We were at a wedding function on that day, and then on Sunday I didn't have any time either. This has been a big wedding week, and I'm sure you guys can forgive me. And hey, I still got an analysis video out, and you guys seem to enjoy that. So there was no post-mortem for Wolves, so I figured that we can perhaps dedicate a chunk of today's stream to talk about what we saw in the game, what we liked about it, anything that we didn't like, debuts from a debut from Guehi. Don't know why I said his name like that, and never forgiven. That's fair enough, Jack. And of course, it is Galatasaray tonight. There will be a stream for that. Make sure to join me tonight. It is very unlikely that we will end up in the top 8. It is very likely we will now have to play a knockout game. The saving grace is that we should be seeded, so it's going to be against a lower placed side, but it's not ideal that in a season where how many times have we complained about how many games there are and players not getting rest, and now we've played ourselves into a situation where we have to play a further 2 games. So we'll be discussing that. We'll be doing a preview of that later in the stream because we don't tend to do standalone previews for the Champions League matches. We will be trying to predict the team. It's probably going to be quite an easy team to predict because, as Sub has just said there is no Rodri, there is no Nico. Galatasaray's tomorrow. Is it? Oh my god. Thank you for letting me know because I was like getting ready to do a stream for it tonight. Thank you for correcting me there. It is not tonight. I tell a lie. We'll be on Twitch tonight in that case. Apologies. I thought it was Galatasaray tonight, so that's my bad. So yeah, tomorrow. Cool. Okay, fine. Yeah, there we go. We've avoided that embarrassment. If no one told me, I would have just like locked in and like gone live at like 7 o'clock or whatever. And then I'd just be like, right, guys, it's Champions League time. Nobbins, what are you doing? You're a bit early by 24 hours. About that. I wasn't at a wedding. It was a wedding fair. It was a function. Yeah, Punchy Bicycle. I don't know. My head is all over the place, clearly, with all these shenanigans. But it's good news. I've got the photographer locked in. I've got the venue dresser locked in. I've got a vision of what's going on. This month has been the month of wedding preparation and anticipation. I'm so locked. It's going very well, Abanab. Thank you very much for asking. In December, I was shitting myself a little bit because I was like, oh my God, it's already been a year since we got engaged. I've made like no progress with the wedding prep outside of I've got the venue booked. You know, that's nice. I haven't called the registrar. Do you know how expensive registrars are, by the way? Just for some Donny to come and marry us, it's nearly $1,000 just for someone to do that. And it's not like you can go to a better council to negotiate it. That the price is the price. That's insane. Just for someone to go, do you Nobbins take Mrs. Nobbins? Yeah, whatever, fine. There's a lot going on. Anyway, enough of that. How are we all doing today? There will be no Galatasaray stream tonight, but there will be a stream on the Twitch. We'll be doing Cork City tonight. Twitch.tv/LNobbins. We're not having a good time in our third season with Cork, although we are now pivoting to Manchester City's title-winning season in 23-24 with our false winger role going on. So if you want to join me for that, make sure to come to the Twitch tonight at, I'm going to say around 7 or 8 p.m. this evening, English time. Hello, Reddy. We've got Farrick. We've got Sub. We've got Nintendo, Blaze. We've got this little bastard here, this little prick. Don't know who he thinks he is. Hello, Bengal. Rodrigo. Yeah. Hey, Manchester United doing us a massive favour there. Can't believe that. I was watching that game as I was just like, what I was mainly focusing on watching the City Wolves game, but I was had that in the background. That was very fun. The way that Arsenal didn't win that's quite funny. It's going very well. Abinab, thank you for asking. Yes, exactly. Punch a bicycle, exactly. Because Mrs. Dobbins doesn't have as much time. Like, cause I'm a layabout. As you guys know, I'm a part timer. Yeah, so I've got all the time in the world to plan this wedding. So I've been locking in this month to getting lots of stuff sorted. Photographer sorted. I've not had any inquiries. What are you playing at? That's why I was slightly late to the stream. I was just got off a video call with her. She's very, very lovely. She definitely fits the vibe, which is like fun, candid, and like everyone having a good time is what we are after. It's a good point, Spartacus. Yeah. Hello, Jeff. How are you? Am I going to get the Minecraft dirt block? So, oh yeah, I've emailed the person who made me the chat, but I've been aired so far. So I am looking to get it updated, but I'm waiting for them to get back to me because I don't really know how it works. Because this is why I hire people smarter than me to make things for me. Yes, I pay them money so I don't have to use my brain. Because if I try to use my brain, it comes up with shit. Yeah, so we'll see. We've got Spurs next. Yes, that is after Galatasaray tomorrow, isn't it? It's Spurs away and then Anfield, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. So a tricky time for City. But if we're able to somehow, if we can win at Spurs this season, and if we can win at Anfield, big ifs and almost definitely not going to happen. Hey, there's only 4 points in it, and I reckon this could be our year. Anyway. Right, yeah, so I want to start with the Wolves game. I then want to move into general chat, and then I want to end on the Galatasaray preview, which now is now not happening tonight, it's happening tomorrow. Okay, so let's start with Wolves, because I haven't aired my thoughts on it. I've done a video, but I haven't aired my live thoughts on the game. Just finished the 4-2-2 video after Wolves. Loved it so much. Big up to you, Ali. We're going to discuss that now. Yeah, but we're so back, exactly. All eyes were on how City were going to set up, basically, because my timeline isn't generally full of FPL accounts, because even though I have an FPL league, I've not updated it since like week 2 or 3, and I think for a long period of time I had Palmer and Frimpong in it and players who were just injured, so I don't really follow FPL. But despite me like showing no interest in it on Twitter, I was getting rammed with a load of FPL updates like the day before the match. I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? What's happening? And all the talk was on how Foden's probably not starting and how Haaland's not starting. And my first thought was good, because even though I predicted Foden to start, I didn't want him to start. That was more so out of I felt that, are we even going to have the bodies to even do that? Thankfully, Nunes was available, and then a different way of viewing the game. But that was good for me, the fact that they didn't start, because let's be practical about this, and I am going to be positive about the performance, but let's be realistic and pragmatic for a second. If there is any game to rest players who need a rest, then it is at home against bottom of the league, 20th place in the table. in theory, this is our easiest game. So it makes a lot of sense to rest those players. So I didn't really understand the almost like shock/negative reaction to the concept of resting them, because it's Wolves at home. Like, I expect us to be able to beat them basically regardless of what team we put out. Although in fairness, I said that about Bodo Glimt, didn't I? And we all know how that turned out. So perhaps we can't take anything for granted. But regardless, if there was a game to do it, that was the game to do it. Foden coming out of the side isn't too much of a big story because you just swap him out for Reinders or Shirky or Doku, depending on the position. But what is interesting is Haaland not starting instead. And that does change a lot of things because now you have a potentially different avenue. How are you going to set up? Are you going to play an actual out-and-out number 9? Are you going to play Marmoush as an out-and-out number 9? Are you going to play false time football? Or are you going to do something entirely different? And are you just going to go back to what we did last season when Haaland was injured? I believe that's when it was. Although I can't remember who the two strikers were. Gosh, last season seems such a long time ago. Who were our two strikers when we did 4-2-2 last season, guys? One was Marmoush, obviously. Who was the other? Was it I don't know who it would have been. Is it Doku? I can't recall. My baby brain can't really remember. But either way, all eyes are on that. Yeah, last season. Yeah, when we played 4-2-2 when Haaland was injured. What last season? Was it? Oh, Savio. Yeah, Savio did sometimes play there, didn't he? I think was it against Madrid where Savio technically played as a striker? Was that game? I'm not sure. Anyway, regardless, we ended up doing that setup from last season, which makes sense because it's what we did without Haaland last year, and it's what we did McAtee as well. Thank you, guys. And it's also what we did, and it makes sense for us to do it now. And it makes even more sense now, because we have Semenyo in the side. So now, and that's why I quite liked, as soon as I saw the match, well, I saw Twitter first of all, because I didn't see the match live, but when I think it was Sam Lee was the first tweet I saw where he said, oh, we're apparently playing 4-2-2. I was like, oh, interesting, that's good, that's interesting, because I did like the football. I do like that football, it's interesting. It provides a lot of avenues for fluidity, it provides a lot of options as for rotations, and if you think about like the squads that we have, bar Haaland, outside of Haaland, and I guess Savio as well, but everyone else really, whether it's Foden, Reinders, Shirky, Marmoush, Semenyo, Rodri, Nico, Bernardo, Nunes, O'Reilly, Aït-Nouri, that setup suits all of those players to a T. Rico Lewis, it suits all of those players perfectly well. You've got the two strikers where you want players who want to be closer to goal and are comfortable being in central areas and are goal threats. Well, that suits Marmoush perfectly. I don't think City have played a setup which gets the most out of Marmoush more so than this 4-2-2, because now he can actually play as a proper second striker, bouncing off and operating alongside another striker. He can also, even though he's not especially good in the tight spaces, there's still license for him to interchange with the players behind him. It gives him avenues to run in behind also, as we saw where he should have won a penalty and then should have scored a goal, but he hit the post. So it profiles those attackers really well. It also profiles the attacking midfielders very well, whether that's Shirky, Foden, Reinders, Doku. Savio could maybe play there as well, although not as naturally. But Doku gets him into a central area. Shirky gets him into a central area. Reinders, Foden gets them into central areas as well. And if you've got a player like Reinders, this was something that they were really good, in fairness. That's probably the best game he's had from a first touch and dribbling POV, I would say, because normally it's a little bit heavy. It was really sharp, and he was on it in that game, which is good. He had a bit more space, to be fair, for the reasons I discussed in the video, which I can maybe get into. But still, he performed really well there. Reinders as well, who I don't think... I saw the timeline were very frustrated with the Reinders performance. Let me know what your thoughts were, by the way. What were your thoughts on the Reinders performance? Now, for me, I think frustrating is the right word. But, because there were times where the first touch wasn't as good, and there were times... And to be fair, I take this for Shirky as well, where the decision-making was a little bit lackluster, or rather like the final action and execution wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. But, yeah, he lacked ball control. Yeah, the first touch wasn't ideal. But I tell you what, I really liked the movement, and that's not new for Reinders. Like, his movement has been good this season. I liked the areas he was getting into. Yeah, they were a bit frustrating, weren't they, Spartacus? But I did like the areas they were getting into. And on another day, with a bit more sharpness in their play, I think that we could have... I know we scored 2 goals in that first half, but I think we could have scored like 3, 4, 5 and constructed way more attacks. The dynamic between Nunes and Reinders especially was really nice, and Andre had a terrible game, and Reinders was constantly running off him into that pocket space, sort of like the right half space area. There was just always like a massive gap. Yeah, he was really good at creating space, wasn't he, Spartacus? A big up to Damie, thank you, mate. Will Guehi and Semenyo play? They can't play against Galatasaray, I'm afraid, because of registration rules, I'm afraid. So we'll have to wait for the knockouts for them to play. Thank you very much for your super chat, matey. I hope that answers your question. We can play them in the knockouts, though. That's a good thing. In the same way that Marmish and Nico played in the knockouts last season. So that was good from Reinders. So it gets a lot out of those attacking midfield profiles as well, whether that's Shirky, whether it's Reinders, whether it's Foden, whether it's Doku as well. He can do that as well. I'd be pretty sure you could easily have Doku where Shirky was, for example. And it also is something that, how many times have we touched on it with Bernardo? It gets the best out of Bernardo as well, because now you don't have to shove him at right wing where he's doing nothing. So you can easily get Shirky into the centre on ball, while still not having to have him as the potential liability in central midfield, because he played in the front three, which is where he's better played off ball. So that's good to see. It means you can get Shirky in the centre without having to have just a body at right wing, because let's be honest, Bernardo is basically just a body out at right wing nowadays. So it gets him deeper into the areas where you want him to be. You want him to be deeper. Now, that's one of the reasons why I like the 2-3-5, because Bernardo doesn't go out at right wing. He goes into the deep centre instead, alongside Rodri. That's really good. And it also gets the fullbacks into their better areas also, because now, whether it's a 4-2-2 or whether it's a 2-3-5, like, I'm going to say, like, the 2 main elements of it that I like... No, sorry, the 3 main elements of it which I like are the Shirky-Bernardo dynamic is better, balanced, than the 3-1-6. Width comes from the fullbacks, which I think is better, and you get more bodies in deeper build-up. So, with the fullbacks being split really wide, they can technically counter build-up players as well. So you've got the 2 centre-backs, you've got the 2 midfielders, and if the fullbacks aren't being picked up, then really you've got those 2 players as well. So you've got 6 outfield players being involved in the build-up now, rather than just the 4 from that 3-1, which is really good. It depends what the opponent does with the fullbacks, but as against Wolves, they were always a free option, so that's the thing as well. There's lots to like about the shape, essentially, is what I'm saying. Caveat everything, it's Wolves, they're bottom of the table, we're at home, we should be pumping them, but hey, it's still a thing. So that's why I quite like the shape for a number of reasons. And even if we go to the players on the bench, Rico can play in that more advanced midfield area. Foden can either play instead of Shirky and Reinders, or he could play where Bernardo was, in a slightly deeper area, slightly more reserved. Savio is maybe a bit of a question mark, and maybe doesn't suit him as naturally, but I'm sure it could still be worked in one way or another. We know it works for everyone who was on the pitch. The only player where I'd be very confident in saying that it probably doesn't really work that well for them is Haaland, because it does rely a lot on players being able to be relatively fluid with one another, and that's not why you sign Haaland. You sign him to be a more static number 9. You want him to be in the box, and you want him to be a goal threat there. You don't want him to be picking the ball up from deep. That's not the same as saying he can't ever pick it up from deep, but generally, you don't necessarily want him rotating with Reinders, do you? Yes, he's playing Haaland fluid. That's the only negative of the structure. Exactly, Ariman, exactly. And that's why we've not seen it on a permanent basis. That's why we... Again, I'm sorry if my memory's failing me, because last season was a long time ago. But I'm pretty sure that when we tried it, and then when Haaland came back into the side, we then abandoned it. I don't think that's a coincidence. So clearly, good point, Musty. Yeah. So I don't know how viable it is to incorporate him into that setup. I don't think it works. So that's the only negative, but it's not a bad thing to have a good Haalandless structure, is it? And it's not bad to be able to platform a lot of our players. So this is why I don't think that it's something we'll see in the next game we play, nor do I think we'll see it in the game we play after that, or the game we play after that, in all honesty. I think it's more so a thing where Haaland needs a rest, as was clearly the case, and you therefore have an alternative. And I don't think it's bad to have that alternative. So that is the only big caveat. Why else did it work? And if you watch the video, you'll already know this, but one of the main reasons why it did work was it did help that Wolves are bad, and it helped that Wolves in that first half didn't come on to us at all. Andre tried to join the attack, to try to like pin Rodri, but then that just left Reinders totally exposed and isolated in the middle. So he couldn't really do that. And Wolves didn't press us at all in that first half. So it meant that there was no pressure on the fullbacks. So they were able to receive in acres of space. Hence the first goal was scored. And it meant that our centre-backs also there was no pressure on them. So they could pick their head up and just hit really nice long passes to Semenyo, to Marmoush. And that's how we were able to construct a couple of really good chances. One should have been a penalty. Semenyo could have had a goal as well. Marmoush hit the post from that penalty incident. And it also just gives the midfield generally way more time on the ball, because if you got two players who are really good, well, Semenyo's a fantastic physical outlet, and Marmoush is a really good just like runner in behind, and they're both very good at running in behind. You need a lot of players to deal with them. So there was a 5v2 at the back. We were still able to get a lot of chances with it, despite being massively outnumbered in that forward line. But because there's so many defensive bodies committed backwards, well, that must mean there's no bodies in the midfield or the attack. Hence, we had all the time on the ball. So it all worked out really nicely. It worked because you have those runners in behind, pushing Wolves back. Wolves want to play defensively anyway, so we had all the joy and all the time in that first half, and it wasn't really a problem. And then we could have scored a third in that second half. It was very similar to the second goal, actually, because for the second goal, Bernardo plays into Semenyo on the edge of the box. Semenyo cuts inside and shoots. Similar situation with that, what could have been the third goal, where Foden plays it to Semenyo. It's very similar position, near the edge of the box. Semenyo cuts inside, weak foot, hits the woodwork in this instance. So it could have well been 3-0 in that second half, but we didn't see as much joy, and we know why we didn't see as much joy, because it's the recurring theme from this season. So it's still not been fully addressed. It wasn't as bad. There were only a couple of moments where it was stinky. It wasn't like it was a full second half of being horrific at retaining the ball, but and it only happened a couple of times, which is good, but it did still happen. So that's still a cause for concern this season, and it has still been a recurring theme. But it was nice to see. It was good to see some ingenuity. It was good to see Marmoush have a really good game. That's my boy. We're sticking with him as my favourite player. And really good to see him have such a positive game, because he was obviously struggling before AFCON, whether due to injury or form or not really finding a role in the side. Good morning to you, Kevin. Love that from you. So really positive to see Omar have a good game, and it's good to see that he's going to have hopefully a role, a really good positive role this season. Guard's not my favourite player. He's probably my favourite defender. No, he is my favourite defender, but Marmoush is my favourite player. Exactly, Musty. Exactly. It's tricky. Like, I was swayed. I kept saying to you guys, is it too late to change my favourite player? Because I was thinking, can I change it to Shirky? But you guys were saying, no, you've got to commit. But I'm happy you guys convinced me to do that, because when he does play, when he's in this form, and when he's platformed correctly, he is so fun, because he's just able to score from like so many different angles in so many different ways, and he's always that lovely constant threat. I just love how he's just like willing to twat it from wherever, and often it's on target, and it's a good shot. So big up to Marmoush for that. So yeah, that was I hope not. Punch a bicycle fills your boy. That's fair sub. Yeah, look, there are some players that I love. I realized this yesterday, or I was like forming the idea in my head, just because I was like thinking about, because I think about football, outside of streams, and I was just thinking, because I always say I like all of our players, but I love some players. And Marmoush is one of those players. Shirky is a player I love. Phil's a player I love. Haaland's a player I love. And there are just some players I like. Because I like all of the players, but there are some that I love compared to I like. I don't dislike any of them. The worst is... Check. The worst is neutral. And where I'm like, I don't really care if you go. Kovacic is in the neutral camp. Everyone else is in like or love. Sorry, Kova. But, you know. So that was all good. So that was good going forward. And you guys have talked about Guehi as well. And yeah, really impressive debut. It's not a surprise because we know that he's a good player. There will be an analysis video. This is the month of planning wedding stuff, though. I'm not in the rush. I'm not in a rush to make this. I will make it, though. Don't you worry. This isn't going to be like Vitor Hayes, where it's a myth. This will actually come out. And Vitor Hayes will actually come out as well if he ends up staying with us next season as well. Yeah, so it's not a coincidence, or rather, it's not a surprise that Guehi played well because he's been in the Premier League for however long. In fact, like when did he get his debut? How many seasons of Premier League experience has he had? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is his 5th season of Premier League experience. So yeah, he's a seasoned player in that sense, and he's not young. How old is he? Is he 26? I literally just had him there, and I've just got rid of him. So he's 25. He'll be 26 in July. So he is a player. I guess there is pressure. Even though like the fee wasn't enough, people have made a lot about the wages, whatever. There is pressure for him to perform immediately. This isn't like a Kusanov situation where we can permit Kusanov to have a season or two of struggling, and he didn't even struggle, by the way. But if he did struggle, that would be okay because of his age and because of his experience. There is no cause for Guehi to struggle. He has to come in and he has to be an immediate impact player. Because of his age, because of his experience, because of the quality we already know he has. So it was very good to see that he played well. There was a moment I tweeted about it. It's a small moment, but it matters because when we lost Diaz and Gvardiol, this kept happening where we have Elaine, we have Kusanov, players who are far younger, less experienced, they're less confident. They're less willing to jump up and engage, but Guehi's not got a problem with that at all. If you watch my Crystal Palace preview video, then you will know that that's how Palace played, with really aggressive wide centre-backs, and that's going to be really positive for how City play, because when we lose the ball on the edge of the box in the centre, you therefore need your centre-backs to be able to push up and engage really high on the strikers, and that's what Guehi's able to do because he's strong, he's aggressive, he's decisive, he's proactive in that sense. He ticks a lot of boxes, and it's only Wolves, but he played really well in the game. His ball playing's very good also, we know this, and there was that moment in like the 95th minute where like O'Reilly put his body on the line, and Guehi put his body on the line, and they didn't need to do that. It's the 95th minute. We're 2-0 up. We're going to win anyway. But it was good to see. And then those two and Foden and Don all like did a group hug together. I just liked that togetherness of, yes, we've done a really good defensive work here. So that was just nice. He was very good, wasn't he, Natando? So I liked a lot of the Wolves game. I like the setup. I like the defensive work from Guehi. Good debut therein. Semenyo looked good again. He looked sharp at playing as a striker. Reminds you of PSG 2020-21 for sure. And yeah, it was interesting. And then the out of possession, we changed that as well. As far as I could tell, there was no diamond press. We just went to a straight 4-3-3/4-1-4-1 with Shirky, Marmoush, and Semenyo leading the line. And then you had Reinders jumping up as well. So it was all good. It was all lovely. And that's the Wolves game in a nutshell. So that's what I would have said for my post-mortem. Good cameos from both Foden and Doku when they came on. They were both involved in what could have been the third goal. And yeah, it was just a good positive game overall, with some issues in the second half, but they're not issues that we haven't it's not the first time we've seen these issues, so it's no surprise really. But yeah, there we go. That's Nobbins' summation. Excuse me, of the match. What do you guys reckon, though? Let me know. Did you guys have any thoughts on the match? Let me know. Does Marmoush? Yeah, I can't believe I nearly thought about cheating on Marmoush. Guehi was so good, says Av, 100%. Marmoush, easily my favourite player. I love him to snap. Yeah, I love him as well. And he's one of the main reasons why I was so against the Rodrigo signing. I always referenced him. If you go to my Twitter and search Marmoush, nearly every single tweet that involves Marmoush is also followed by one about Rodrigo. So he was a key reason why I kept not wanting him. In in our squad. You loved Donnarumma. Yeah, I loved that that fantastic claim that he did in around the 60th minute or whenever that was. Don't I love Kusanov? I've not known him enough to love him, although to be fair, same amount of time with Marmoush. I don't love Kusanov. I like Kusanov. I don't love him though. I like him though. I think I could learn to love him. He needs to add more to his game, and this is something I said in my video on him. He needs to just refine his defensive game more. I love the move man thing that you guys say. I get that. I love that, but sometimes it's not the correct call. He does, and that he's a young centre back. Hopefully that comes with time and whatnot. Yeah, shout out Vitor Hayes. Yeah, didn't he scored a goal or something? Yeah, there you go. Scored a 95th minute equaliser. Spartacus. I don't love Jack Grealish anymore. No. Unfortunately, he's gone. He's gone. Well, 4-2-3-1. We haven't played that yet, Blaze. And the problem with the 4-2-3-1 off ball really is it's basically just a 4-4-2, but even less structured. I'm not ruling it out. I'm just saying that I don't think that they are naturally compatible with one another. Never say never. Never say never. I just don't think that the pros of the positives and the pros of doing a 4-2-2, as we did against Wolves, get eroded slightly by having Haaland start rather than having Marmoush and Semenyo as your two main strikers. We're not getting Trent, Steve. No, he's not leaving Madrid. Nor would he come to City either. Haaland should get a full 90 minutes rest. Pep brought him on for 40 minutes when we were 2-0 up. I don't get that, man, says Foot. Do you think Foden's been pushed out the squad? No. Hasn't he started every other Premier League game this season that he's been available for to start? Something like that. I think it's fine that he didn't start against Wolves at home. Getting Trent, I don't think we're getting Trent either, Ram. Of course, yeah, I love that hug. Yeah, it was very lovely. It was the whole team coming together. I liked that a lot. That passion was the definition of a reaction. I hope so. Maybe I am reading too much into it. But I think you need that togetherness when we've been shit this year in 2026. We literally haven't won a league game. So I want to see the team be together and be a unit. So I liked that a lot. I did like that a lot. Yeah, don't spam, guys. Optimistic for Liverpool and Spurs. I hope so. Yeah, definitely Musty, 100%. That was something I tweeted about that. I did the Klopp running gif saying that. Thoughts on our title charge. Let's wait until the Spurs and Liverpool game first. Speaking of the Spurs game, Friday, we've got a wonderful guest on, 2 p.m. He's absolutely booked in. He's an amazing analyst and tactician. He's called Kish. We are going to have another beautiful guest on the channel, so make sure to join me for that, because he's going to provide a lot of value to the stream. We're going to get his thoughts on how Spurs have been this season. Why has Thomas Frank been failing? He really hates Thomas Frank, so I'll be getting his thoughts on that. And then how does he view City as well? Basically like the Connor Chelsea stream, but through a Spurs lens this time. Hey, they're all cuties. There's no doubt they're all cuties. And I do like them all. Trent is good, but if we were signing right back place, I'd rather go for Reed. Because he's good at crosses, he's young, offensive and defensive awareness. I know Spartacus said Trent's not impossible. I just don't think it's going to happen. Find Donnarumma confusing. I don't think he's been outstanding for us. Still, some people saying he's the best keeper we've ever had. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I'm still in the camp of I need to see. You know that the United game, both United games in fairness, but more so the one at Old Trafford. I need that more, essentially, for me to be convinced. I need that to become, I'm not saying the standard, but that performance has to happen more often than not. And so far, it's only happened once. And still, so far, there have been some good saves. But of the truly elite saves, where this is the reason why we signed this goalkeeper, and I think we saw a lot in that Derby game, I haven't seen enough of them. I've seen a lot of good to great saves, but we didn't sign him to do good and great saves. Because if we wanted a player to make good or great saves, then you could have got someone else. Because there's plenty of Premier League keepers who could have made those saves. What I'm after are the saves above that. Why did you sign Donnarumma rather than this goalkeeper? Those are the saves I need to see more of. I've seen some of them in some games. The 2 United games spring to mind. I need more of it, though, until I can be convinced. Because so far, the mistakes have outweighed the elite saves. The Ederson comparison is very irrelevant because now I can talk about ball playing and shot prevention. We can't play the Ederson game. That's always the mistake people make. The comparison is not to Ederson. If you want to make that comparison, the comparison is to a goalkeeper who can make the goods to great saves but can also be an asset on ball. That's the comparison to make. Ederson isn't that player to make the comparison with. If you want to make that comparison, you've got to change the goalposts. You've got to change the terms of engagement because now we need to have a different conversation. I'm willing to see, but so far it hasn't happened yet. But it's early days. We're only halfway through a season. So I'm willing to be patient and rather... So I think if you're in either camp, then I don't get you. There's one camp who are like, the signing has absolutely failed already. I think that's unfair. And then you've got another camp saying the signing has been an absolute roaring success. That's wrong. I don't think either camp are correct. I think that we should be cautious, but let's also be fair and wait. Wait to see. Citizen sleeping on Bar. I don't think he's got a future at City, I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest. Any Spurs fans who don't hate Frank? I think he's been a day one hater though, Jack. I don't think he wanted him at all. Is Frank failing? Now, we need to keep him until, is it this weekend? Yeah? No silly situations with the Spurs higher-ups. Yeah, if it's big game done, then we're up for it, but too often it's not the case. Guehi can play tomorrow. Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. He cannot. Some of the saves have been there. Ari Trafford's produced some cracking saves. It's a good point, Bicycle, and that's what I mean. The standards have to be way higher for the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. And if people are saying he's the best in the world, that's fine. But I need to see that every single game then, or certainly 9 times out of 10. And only seeing it a couple of times, it isn't yet acceptable. Do you think we have too many short players in the squad? I have no idea what the average height of the team is. We do have some shorties. We also have some tallies. You just know Frank's going to outclass Pep. Hopefully not. We will do that. We will do that in the preview section. Yeah, absolutely not a problem. Yeah, Spartacus indeed. Nico can technically start, but I don't know if he's fit. There's a question mark on whether he's going to be able to start because of his fitness. That's the only thing. So that's the Wolves game, and that's just like a little detour with the chat. Does anyone have any final thoughts / questions on the Wolves game before we move on to a different topic? Let me know. Let me know. It's a thing. Trafford had made one mistake, Nexus. This is the thing as well. This is revising history here. He's made one error, realistically, and that was in the Spurs game, and it was a bad error. But this is also why it's a bit of a fault, and I want to move on from the Donnarumma thing, but if people keep bringing it up, then I will keep going back to it. You can't judge them but through the same lens, because, and that is fair to do, by the way, because one goalkeeper is a young / inexperienced one who's had one season of top flight at the top flight level, and the ceiling is nowhere near what they are right now. They are young, they're going to make errors. The other one is a 10-year top flight seasoned goalkeeper who is an international, who has played in cup finals for club and country, and has 10 years of top flight experience, and is also the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. The standards are not the same, clearly. So comparing the two is also erroneous, I'm afraid. We'll have to see. Ari the fitness. Gundo says with Sane goal is pretty much 100%. Yeah, I keep forgetting that Leroy plays for them. That is a thing, isn't it? Does Gundogan play for Galatasaray? Did he? Oh no, I'm thinking of Edison. Edison was going to go to Galatasaray, but then he ended up going to Watford, didn't he? Is he fit? He's a good-looking guy, but is he? Yeah, I know he played on the 24th. Yeah, he played the full game on the 24th. Yeah. Oh, Gundogan back to the Etihad so soon. They have Osman, however you pronounce his name, as well. Sanchez. God, Davison Sanchez. God, he was going to be the next big thing, and then he just stank up the gaff. Yeah, good times. Do we want to move on to the Galatasaray preview and try to predict the team, or is there anything else we want to discuss? RE, Wolves game, or Guehi a little bit more? Do let me know. I'll be guided by you guys. I will be guided by you lovely people. Leroy Sane. Sane's incredibly washed. That's fair. They aren't available to play, Chris. No, I'm afraid not. Yeah, Sane is washed. It's so sad. Yeah, Edison went to Fenerbahce, did he? Yeah, Edison plays for Fenerbahce, thank you. As long as Leroy doesn't go to recreate his back tattoo, I'll be pleased. That is a weird back tattoo. I mean, get as long as they're not harming anyone, get your own, get whatever you want as a tattoo. Not a problem. It is weird, though. I feel like it's weird to get a picture of yourself on your body. I don't know. You do you, obviously. I think it's a bit odd, personally. I wouldn't get a picture of my face tattooed on me. I don't know. But, although I also wouldn't get a photo of a character who is a paedophile put on my body either, like Garnacho did with that Prison Break character, which is absolutely wild. It's insane. But hey, each to their own. Each to their own. You get me. Stones missed the best chance to save his career if he just managed to stay fit. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, because like Pep's made like some passive aggressive statements about Stones and Bob, basically suggesting that are they even fit or not. I don't know how fair that is, because Stones is just an injury prone player. I don't think he's faking it. I don't think he's like taking the mickey. I don't think it's his fault that he's always injured, but it is a shame that he is always injured. You get me. Leroy Sane, indeed. Will Semenyo and Guehi? No, they can't. Do the preview? Yeah, we can do that now. I've no idea, Jayesh. I've no idea. Pep is hating he is. Yeah, he's not happy about Stones. He's not happy about Bob. He's not happy about anyone being injured. I don't know how reasonable that is, because if a player is injured, they're injured. I don't really know how fair it is to have a go. So, but hey, that's a thing. Bob is looking out for himself, trying to keep himself fit. It's okay, if that's happening, then it's a different conversation to be had. But I can't imagine that Stones is doing that. I can't imagine Stones is dicking around and all that stuff. Okay, guys, let's suck it up, yeah. Let's get into trying to predict what we think the starting 11 is going to be then for tomorrow. So this was the... Ignore the Wolves thing in the top left. It's not a problem. Ignore the thing. Ignore that thing. Who is available is the question, essentially. They can play in the playoffs, yes. In the same way that Marmoush and Nico could play in the playoffs. And looking at the table, guys, we are going to be in the playoffs. Even if we beat Galatasaray, and we'll get into even if we can do that. But even if we win, we end on 16 points. The problem is that it is unlikely that we are going to climb 3 places. We are probably going to miss out by a place. Now, we might get to 9th, for example. We need a lot of games to go our way. Spurs beating PSG was, or whoever beat PSG, was it Sporting, sorry. That was a bad thing for us, because now Sporting are ahead of us on goal difference. I suppose we could dominate the game. In fairness, we could. If we batter our opponents, then we have a really good chance. Because if we batter them, Barcelona and Sporting are only +1 ahead on goal difference. So that would take us ahead of them if we're able to batter them and they don't. And then we only need 1 team in the top 8. So anyone from Real Madrid below, so 3 through 8, we just need 1 of them to be better than us. Sorry, for us to be better than them. It could happen, it could. But maybe let's get into why we won't batter them. Now, Galatasaray are 17th, and they are coming to the Etihad. That's nice, in the first instance. The problem is a couple folds. The Bruges game, indeed. The problem is that there is no Rodri, because he was a silly sausage, and he got himself suspended. Pep has suggested that there is not going to be any Nico either. That's a bad thing, because it means that we don't have our main number 6, nor do we have our backup number 6. So let's immediately just have a look at the players who are available. There's also no Semenyo and Guehi, as we know. So we can play Marmoush, we can play Cherki. Let's get the available players over here first of all. We can't play Rodri due to suspension. We can play Kusanov. We can't play Guehi. We can play Don, Bernardo. Bernardo comes back into the side. That's good. We can play O'Reilly. We can play Trafford, technically, even though he's obviously not going to play. We can play Lewis. We can play... Can't play Roger. We can play Foden. We can play Ake, Haaland, Ainori, Doku. But I don't think we can play any of these players. We can't play Rodri. We can't play Semenyo. We can't play Guehi. Savio's still injured. Nico might not be injured. Exactly, Jack. We've got less players, as it turns out. I'm going to assume that Nico is injured because Pep has said he's not going to play, or he's, like, questionable. So I'm going to operate under the assumption that he isn't available. Trafford's obviously not going to play. Let's just get Don in right now. So we've got... Who do we have at the back? We've got Kusanov. We've got Ake. We've got Elaine. Where's Elaine? We've got Elaine. We've got O'Reilly. Lewis is a question mark because he's both. We've got Ainori. We've got Nunes. That's big. Attacking players, we have Haaland. We've got Foden, Doku for more like midfield vibes. Cherki's in between. Marmoush more so there. Bernardo there. Let's do that sort of situation. Okay. Okay, good news. The good news is that we have a lot of bodies for the defence. This is a good thing. Bad news is that we are very light in midfield. Even lighter. Well, Bernardo's back. Rodri's out. So we're about where we were with bodies in the midfield, in fairness, as against Bodø Glimt. So the midfield and attack might be a bit trickier to construct. Let's try to make the defence first of all. Because we have to go... I know we have Spurs coming up, and I know we have Liverpool coming up, but we have to go as strong as we can here, right? Because it's the last game of the Champions League, and we have to win, and win well if we want to avoid the playoffs. Spartacus. Yeah, numerical superiority, just have more bodies on the pitch. So I think we need to try to make the best team we can make. Therefore, based on that. Also, Guehi and Semenyo are rested by default. They will come in for Spurs. They will come in for Liverpool. That's the thing. I think Nunes has to play. That's a non-negotiable for me. I want Nunes to play. Centre-backs, who do we have? We've got Elaine, Kusanov, Ake. Kusanov obviously plays. So we've got a choice of having Ake or Elaine. And then, so that means we'll pop Lewis in the midfield category for a second. And I'm also going to pop O'Reilly in the midfield category because we need more midfielders. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to say that we play out Nori at left back because that gives us the option to have O'Reilly in midfield. And I think that given that we have no defensive midfielder and O'Reilly played in defensive midfield against Newcastle away, I'm going to suggest that it's going to be O'Reilly to play as the number 6, based on what happened in the Newcastle game anyway. So, who are we playing, guys? Ake or Elaine? I'm tempted to put in Elaine, even though he was stinky against Bodo Glimt. Actually, he was really stinky, wasn't it? And then he was bad against United. Ooh. What do you guys reckon? Elaine or Ake? I don't actually know now. I was going to put Elaine and I think I've convinced myself to put Ake. What do you guys reckon? What we saying? Who are their main attackers? Osman's the main one, isn't he? Let's learn on the job, team. Learn on the job. Yilmaz, who's apparently a baller. Big up Leroy. So Leroy's going to be the right winger, probably. Osman will bully Elaine. I think he'll bully anyone. Nathan, says Chris. Ake. Play Mafuni. I'm going to predict Ake to play. Wait, he's not fully fit. Wait, is that confirmed? Where's that been said? Was that in his press conference? Is that today? Let me have a little look. No, that's John McKenzie's profile. For God's sake, let's go into City Extra. What are we saying? Don't care about Docker's questions. Pep on whether Nico will be fit. Today's the last training session we'll assess today. Okay, so maybe Nico starts in fairness. Can't see anything on Ake. Pep on Holland's fitness. He doesn't know. He's not. I don't think he's received any questions on Ake. So I think that I'm going to predict Ake to start. Now, if he's not available, then okay, just throw in Elaine. I actually don't think it's that much of a difference between the two. I think you can argue it either way. Neither are ideal, but yeah. This is a very good point because, yeah, Pep said the same about Nico against Wolves. He said he wasn't probably going to start, and then he did start, and he was absolutely fine. However, I'm going to trust him. I'm going to take him at face value. So, for the purposes of this prediction, I'm going to take Pep at face value and assume that Nico isn't available. Even though he might be chatting the finest of bollocks, I'm going to assume he's not available. Again, if he is available, he's going to start. Obviously, he is. But let's, for argument's sake, assume he is not starting. What does that mean? As for central midfielders, so if we're playing our normal 4-3-3, and I don't see why we wouldn't, who are the options who are going to play there? He is a pathological liar. Absolutely he is. That means the options become these players here. If Nico isn't here, O'Reilly surely has to play in defensive midfield. I also don't think it's a question that Bernardo plays in the midfield somewhere. The question then becomes, which of these three do you go for? Do you have a slightly more adventurous and offensive midfield, so one that's going to help out less with the defence? Do you play Reinders? Do you play a player who is going to offer a bit more off-ball work in Foden, but we still want to be giving him a bit of a rest? Or do you go for Rico Lewis, but that wasn't especially nice against Bodo Glimt? So we've got a choice. I think we've got a choice of picking one of these three for the rest of the midfields. And we can probably more readily construct the attack. Although, to be fair, some people have said Haaland's not starting. I think Haaland will probably come back into the side, and then it's a choice of, okay, now who do you go for? Or it might just be that. Actually, no, let's come to the attack in a bit. The attack's a bit easier. We just got to pick 3 out of these 4. So we've got to pick one of these 3 options. How many minutes late are you? 55-30. Foden could do the off-ball thing and help O'Reilly and Bernardo out. This is what I'm thinking, because realistically, this is a weak midfield 2. Because O'Reilly isn't a number 6. So I think in an ideal world, what I would want is to have a player who's going to be able to provide the most off-ball value, and that player is Foden. But I don't want to play Foden, because I would still like him to be rested and not played. But if we're treating this as like, what is the game where we're going to have the best chance of winning the game, then the answer is to start Foden in midfield, because he's going to provide way more off-ball work and what's it than Reinders. Ready, thank you so much for renewing your membership, matey. Love that from you. Welcome back. It says welcome to the Ultras Club, but you already are an Ultra. But welcome back to the Ultras Club, matey. And your random footballer is, a City legend, Van Boyten. Well, wait, no. He was gonna... No. Am I thinking of a different player? Hang on. There was a Bayern Munich centre-back who played for us, like, randomly for some reason. Yeah, it was Van Boyten. Yeah, I thought so. I mean, barely, but, you know. There we go. I'm correct. I'm such a genius. I knew he played for us. He was mainly a Bayern player, but he did play for us for a very brief time. There you go. Man City legend. No, I was thinking of Van Boyten. No, he played. He played for them. Yeah, so, thank you very much. If you guys want to support the channel, then you can do so by clicking that button there to support your boy. Foden has started the 8, need to build up in the middle. I'm going to predict Foden to come back into the side and start, because I'm thinking that unless we change, hey, we might change it absolutely, but I'm thinking that you need as much midfield solidity as you can get, considering that we have no number 6 in this scenario. If Nico starts, different conversation, and we can take out Foden, and now I'd be more than happy to have... Just do that for a second. This. I'd be way happy to have that as a midfield and rest Foden, not a problem. But... if Nico isn't starting, and that's what my starting assumption is, I want the midfield to be as solid as possible, and the way you do that is to have this being the trio. So I'm going to do that. Apologies, Lewis, you're not getting into my team, I'm afraid. So here we've got I think we've got as solid a defence as we can possibly have, realistically. We've got as solid a midfield as we can possibly have. Now we need to have a look at the front 4. I'm going to say Doku definitely starts on the left. I'm saying that's not necessarily up for debate. I'd be staggered if Doku didn't start this game at left wing. I'd be really surprised. That's correct, Moffat, exactly. So it basically just depends on, and therefore it probably means that Shirk, if I think Doku's playing on the left, that's a very good point. Doku did the press conference also. So I therefore think it's going to be Shirky off the right. In which case, I've predicted myself into a corner here, and I've now made it so that it's got to be one of Marmoush or Haaland. If I'm dead confident that Doku's going to start, outside of a change of shape, it would be a massive shame if Marmoush didn't play, because of how good he played against Wolves. I'm tempted to start Marmoush, you know. That also gives Haaland a rest, and it rewards Marmoush's good game, and... You can bring Haaland off the bench. But what do you guys think? Do you think Haaland starts? Musty says yes, Haaland will start. Doku off the right. I don't think he's played off the right once this season. I'm not going to predict that. I don't like to predict off the cuff stuff without precedent. Drop Big Earl. Erling will have to start if Doku starts, says Sarthak. Why do you think that, Sarthak? What's your thought process? Let me know. You can't have Semenyo Moffat. He's not registered. He can't be registered. Haaland starts. Haaland needs to build some confidence. Is a must-win game against Galatasaray a game to build his confidence? I don't know. Fernando says Haaland benched. Early game, Marmouche. Marmouche deserves to start, says Nexus. I want to predict Marmouche to start. Like, high key. High key, I do. I don't know, Hydro. Start a Checo. Marmouche off the left, but then I can't play Doku. I think Doku's going to play. He did the press conference as well. Use your head, not your heart. But that's the tricky thing, Jack, because my head is 50-50. My head is 50-50. I can be swayed either way. If I did this, let's just do that for a second. Bear with me. What would this look like? Question mark. Question mark. Guys, have I cooked up food poisoning? What are we saying? You make me sick. Foden Doku swap. Yo. They can rotate. Yo. Yo. What are we saying, guys? Maybe says sub. I've cooked. Yeah, but what have I cooked? Is it a 5-course meal or food poisoning? Looks good. Abdi, thank you for following, mate. Trey, yeah. But he can still be that guy here. In fairness, he can still be that guy here. Straight salmonella. Oh God. No, that doesn't. No. I mean, you know. I'm just moving stuff around now. No, it doesn't really work, does it? I mean, it could work. You could just have Doku defend right wing off ball. But I said I didn't want to predict that. So I'm not going to predict that. This isn't going to happen, is it? I don't know why I'm predicting this. This isn't going to happen. No, let's be honest. No, okay, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Let's go with what's more likely to happen, which isn't that, and it's probably going to be more so. It could be like that vibe. That's the alternative in it with the switch, just like changing 2 players. Yeah, in it. I don't really like Marmouche off the right. You know, I'm not a fan of that. That's the alternative, isn't it? Whereas that's a bit more realistic. Punch a pies. What the fuck? That's mean. Hello? That's mean. Oh my God. I would literally ingest cyanide if I ever saw this. A high key. You would see like the first like cult ending of it all on the LNobbins channel. That'd be crazy. That'd be a crazy situation if that were to happen. Pep Linders, is that you? Make Big Nine play the first 45. I quite liked the 4-2-2 that we were going with. I think it would be fun. It's not good enough, Punch Bicycle. I'm going to ban you now, you little bastard. That was funny. No, it's very funny, Bicycle. I don't know. I think this is probably a bit more realistic. You got a strong rest defense. You got the wide fullbacks. You got Foden into what is, I think, his best position this season. You got Shirky and Doku into their best positions this season. And I'm gonna predict that we maybe do this. But there's something in. There is something in starting Marmoush. There's definitely something. There's something to be had here. It just means that you played Marmoush at right striker, which isn't necessarily ideal. And you played Doku as a striker, but he can rotate with Foden. And there's something in this. I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying it's optimal. I'm not saying it's ideal. But I think there's something to be had here. There's something in that. Maybe that's not like the final form. Maybe like swap a couple players around. There's something to be had here. There's something. But maybe a 2-3 is better because that helps out O'Reilly a little bit. That is one of my problems, Twister, because I don't like Marmoush off the right either. So in which case you could just do that and then have Doku play right wing off ball, but I don't think we've seen that all season. I don't think we'll do this. I'm not even saying it's a good idea. It's more likely we'll do the opposite. I'm just saying there is something to be had here. There's something to be had here. But maybe not tomorrow. Maybe it's too much too soon. In which case, if you want my realistic starting 11, I'm going to predict this. I'm going to predict that. Maybe that's why I didn't. No, he'd go striker, wouldn't he? It would be the same as against Wolves. Shirky would play striker off ball, and Semenyo is just Doku. Or Doku is Semenyo, and Marmoush plays left wing off ball as well. And maybe Dr. Daniel says, why can't Marmoush be the lone striker? Hey, maybe it is that straightforward. Maybe it's just a straight swap. But Marmoush isn't... That's not getting the best out of Marmoush is the only thing I was thinking of. That was the only thing I was thinking of, because we know that Marmoush isn't an out-and-out number 9. That's my prediction. I still think it's a good team. I do think that is probably the strongest team we could put out as well. I will say that. If we want to go with like Haaland over... If we do want to go with Haaland over Marmoush, I guess you could play them both. But I don't know. I think you need to play Doku. I want Doku to play anyway. I think this is arguably the strongest team you could put out if you want to go with Haaland starting rather than Marmoush. Yeah, we shall see what happens tomorrow. There will be a watch-along, of course, on the channel. A cheeky Christmas tree formation. Don striker, Doku right wing, Foden left wing, and spam crosses into the box. Bruh, Donnarumma can't handle his own box. How is he going to handle the opponent's box? Hello? Bringing Pep DM. Definitely win tomorrow. A draw will be the best result we will get, says Leo. Unfortunately, that's not acceptable. We have to win tomorrow, and it's not going to be easy at all. But I think the team we've come up with there, the key, if Nico can't start, the key issue is Nico O'Reilly needs help and support. He needs bodies around him. But that's why you got Bernardo, that's why you got Foden there. So I think it can be done. Is there a reason we haven't seen Doku right wing like he does for Belgium? Yeah, because my analysis video was predicated and written under the assumption that he was being brought in to be a right winger, because we sold Mahrez and like Palmer was in theory the other option there to play off the right, and we had options off the left at that time or whatever. I can't even remember what they all were, so maybe I'm misremembering. We had like Grealish and someone else. I don't know. But you are right. Like he does sometimes play right wing, doesn't he, for Belgium? I know he also plays the left, yeah, but he does sometimes play there, and we barely see it for City. We did see it in like his first couple of games. He started at right wing, and in fact, even the start of last season, he started Doku right wing and he started Savio left wing. However, after a few minutes, whether it was last season or in his first season, he swapped them round, and he moved Doku from right to left. And we've seen his best performances for City off the left. I've not watched enough Belgium, so I don't know. But I think part of it, yeah, I think this genuinely, because I think it was Daps who asked me, why do you think that could we not see him off the right? And one of my main things in my brain was this. The shimmy that Doku does is... The only reason why it works is because he shimmies to the right. Now, if you start on the right and you shimmy to the right, you're going to run the ball out of play because there's nowhere to go. Whereas you shimmy on the right, on the left, and you go into the center of the pitch, which is obviously more dangerous, rather than you play it out for an opponent's throw. So that's one of the main reasons why. Maybe it's also because he's more comfortable like just dribbling generally on that side, because he's able to dribble more with his right foot. I don't know. But yeah, but it is interesting that Pep wanted him to be a right winger, but like Doku revolted, whether through performance or Doku and Savio said themselves in that Chelsea game that they just swapped around automatically. That wasn't even an instruction. And then they played a lot better, didn't they? Because like Savio was struggling against Reece James or whoever it was, and he went over to the left, and he had a really good game against Cucurella in that first half. And if memory serves, the first goal was scored because Doku moved over to the left and he drifted inside, interchanging with Kevin on that left side. So yeah, it's a weird one, but I think that's maybe why. His main thing, his skill set, the shimmy, which always works, is predicated on being able to start from the left. Yeah. And he's still got a good weak foot cross on him, hasn't he? And also he's like adding that inside through ball to his game, isn't he? So, yeah, interesting one. He's always linked up well with players on the left as well. He's always linked up well with Yoshko. He's always linked up well with Foden as well. Yeah, I've not got a lot of sympathy for this new ref, to be honest with you. Respectfully, it's his first game in the Premier League, whatever. Respectfully, this isn't a playground, and this isn't a charity match, and this isn't a lower league game. This is the Premier League. This is a competition where infinite amount of money is invested into it, and incorrect decisions can be detrimental to football teams financially. It's not good enough that you make errors on your first game, respectfully. I'm not having it that, oh, it's his first game, let him off. No. To be honest, no. As a referee, you should not even be involved in the game. The best referees are the ones that are quiet. You don't even know. You just got every single decision correct, whatever. You can't make bad decisions, and you absolutely cannot make bizarre bad decisions. Okay, if you make a bad decision, whatever, fine. In the heat of the moment. There was no heat of the moment, though, respectfully. You had people more experienced than you in your ear recommending a thing. You had the opportunity to watch it on replay. And then so that was a decision. That was a decision that you made. I have no sympathy for him, to be honest. It's your first game, whatever. I don't have the sympathy for you, though. You can't be in the Premier League and make a basic error like that, even if it's your first game or if it's your 1000th game. I don't care. So the media wants to defend him because they don't like City, whatever. Thankfully, it didn't have an impact on the game. Maybe that's mean of me. I've got no sympathy though. I think he had a bad game. Because it is a penalty, I'm afraid to say. It is a penalty. And that matters when you're 1-0 up. Thankfully, it didn't matter in the game. But it could have mattered. So... I don't care. I don't care, to be honest. I think it's... I think a lot's been made out of nothing. A mountain has been made out of a molehill here. And it's whatever. One day, Fenway, one day. What's your lineup for that, by the way? Single winger, asymmetric attack. So what would you have, like, just like no outlet on that side? Would you just like abandon it, or would you have someone else accessing it? Let me know. Good point, Fenway. Yeah. Journalist forcing narrative of your shitty job. Why can't get called out? I can't accept the 4-2-2 system. I saw slot play it. Double die line. I don't know what that means, sorry. You don't like it though, that's fine. That's absolutely not a problem. Yeah. I think it's funny that I don't think maybe I could name you more now, but it was like whenever we were on like whenever I was on like a panel show or whatever, and there's a conversation about referees and, oh yeah, this referee's got this agenda. I couldn't name you many referees. I never get it when people say, and the referee for this game is this manager, is this person. I don't care. Anthony Taylor, I know, and Mike Dean, but he doesn't he doesn't referee anymore, does he? I know Anthony Taylor because he's been around for years, and Howard Webber doesn't manage anymore, and Mike Dean, I keep saying manage, referee, and Mike Dean doesn't referee anymore, and Howard Webber doesn't referee anymore. I couldn't name you that many referees because I don't care. So it was just fascinating, like when I was on these shows and people are like naming all these people. How do you know these referee names? Why do you care? It's very weird. It's very weird to be so hyperfixated on that. Does anyone? It doesn't matter. Anyone care really? Anyway. Nico's in training, that's big. I did watch the Arsenal game. Yes. So funny. So funny. Michael Oliver, I do know his name, to be fair. Yes. If you said a name, I'd probably be like, oh yeah, I recognise him as a referee. But if you said, right, name 5 Premier League referees, or we will shoot your fucking cock off, yeah. I'm getting a really aggressive vasectomy. That's what's happening. Because I could not do that. I could not do that for you. We've already done a lineup preview, Callum. Rewind like 20 minutes or so. Begging you to drop Foden and Silva. Shirky Dokisme needs to be the way forward. That is going to lead to a bad off-ball situation, I'm afraid, Vera, sorry. Yeah, I've already done that. Nico's in training, that's good. Yeah, I'm not with the lingo, I'm afraid. No striker, play Marmouche. Left wing, Doku, right wing to South. Brilliant. That's good if he's in training. Yes. Unfortunately, he is starting games because it matters. He needs to start games. The scary bald one. That might be a lot. Yeah, I just don't care about referees. Asymmetric single winger formation. Doku on the left. Marmouche at top. Fern Shirky playing behind them. Bernard and can provide width on the right if there's space. If there's space, yeah. Otherwise, just, yeah, don't even bother. I love that. Oh, dear. Nobbins needs to be arrested, probably. God damn it, Sarthak. D means dick. Okay, good to know. Thank you. We're live for another 10 minutes, by the way, guys, so get your final thoughts or comments in for like the final 10 minutes or so. I've not checked the like count. We are live every single Wednesday and Friday at 2 p.m. This has been the case for however many months. So if you are still surprised, I don't know why you'd be surprised. Where was I? I mean, not start, probably not. Probably not. what is Foden's problem? Why does he have blips? Oh, well, every single player has blips. If specifically for like this stream, I think a couple of things have happened. I think the main one is that is the role that is being asked of him, coupled with the amounts of minutes that have been asked of him, is too much, coupled with the expectation of being able to contribute output. Can you imagine having a role where you run more than like anyone in the Premier League per 90? And it's not just running around for the sake of running around. These are high intensity sprints that are being made to help with the off-ball work. And you are being expected to also offer final third output as well. It's a very tricky dynamic to get the balance right in the first instance. I don't think that's helped him and the fact that there's been no rest either, really. And I think the other thing to say is that we've moved away from the setup that was working, where he was playing deeper. He was having his better games there. We were having our better games there as well. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we've moved away from that and now that has happened. So it basically, Musty, yeah, that's a very good way of outlining it, basically. So I think that's basically it. And we'll hopefully get him, because, again, people love to be reactive. They love to cry. They love to throw toys out of the pram. They love to say the most outlandish thing they possibly can because they're attention-seeking children. Let's not do that. Let's not overreact, and let's actually rest the player, and then let's hope that they can get back to the form that they were in. Because let's not forget that a month or so ago, and I still think this is the case in all honesty, across the entire season, Foden was our second best player behind Haaland. And I would still say that is the case based on averages across the entire season. I would still contend that. Let's not forget what was happening there. People like to be reactive. They like to go over the top. They like to cry. They don't like to actually have the conversation because it's, as we know, it's human nature. It's very easy to blame an individual because then you can just put it all down to one player. But we know it's never that straightforward. In the same way there was the case last season. So that is my probably... That's my... exactly, KJ. That is my reasoned, objective take on what has been the problem over the past year or so. Right. I keep getting these messages from Temu asking for like a sponsorship situation. No. Stop. And I've checked, it is actually the real Timo as well. No, I'm not interested. Guys, I was just checking my emails. No, actually, I'm not interested, Temu. Anyway. No, not pick up Temu. They're not getting any advertising on this channel. I'm a fraud, absolutely. Do you get more money from... So, I get more from Patreon, Punch a Bicycle, because Patreon only takes like 8%, whereas YouTube takes 30%. So I get a lot more from Patreon, to be honest. So if you are able to support the Patreon, then of course, and I know you're currently a YouTube member, Patreon is slightly more expensive. If you can, of course, and you want to get more money to me, go to the Patreon. But it's an extra couple of quid. So I think the membership is £3, but the Patreon is like £5 plus VAT. So you don't have to do it, but that's just an FYI. But if you would like to support me, the best way to do that is with Patreon. But I appreciate the question. Thank you very much. And if you guys would like to support the Patreon, by the way, the link is there. You get the same perks there. You just don't get the live stream perks, but you get an ad-free viewing experience. So if you ever want to watch a live show back, you don't get any ads. If you want to watch a video back, you don't get any ads either. So it's give and take. The Patreon's more for offline viewing. This is more for live viewing. But if you want a mix of the perks, and you don't really care about not getting live perks, you still get all the exclusive videos. I need to make the exclusive vids from this month. I haven't done that yet. I've been distracted with the wedding. One of the exclusive vids I was going to do a games room tour, because I think that'd be quite cute. I can show you all my consoles. Yes, we'll whip out the banana tomorrow, don't you worry. There is a Twitch stream tonight. That is free. Probably 7 or 8 p.m. Fenway, I took the picture in 2020, in fairness. If Doku shimming on the left, no need to have a wing, a right back slash him his first step into space. Marge can play near the back post of phone shaking the half spaces. We'll see it one day, Fenway, don't you worry. We did discuss that, Nico. It basically depends on whether Haaland's going to start. I think I've concluded. That's what I've concluded. This is a really good summation, Musty. I've never thought about it like that, but that's a good point. This is also a good point, Naveen. It's interesting. Like, Foden can have an average or, you know, like a 6.5 out of 10, and people will think it's the worst game in the history of the universe. It's fascinating that I've noticed this. It is fascinating the standards that he is held to. They are outlandishly high. It's amazing. I've never really seen it before. It's fascinating. It is fascinating. Yeah, we're going to get there soon. The next milestone is 50k. What am I going to do for 100k? Well, let's hope we get there first of all. I don't know. I did say that I would reveal my name and the origin of Nobbins when I got to 100k. I did promise that. But in fairness, I did promise that in like 2020 on TikTok. When this channel didn't even exist. So, and we had like, you know, the other Nobbins channel. So maybe I could argue that I was actually referring it to that channel instead. I want to do it for as long as possible. How long can I go without my name being known? Sky don't even know my real name. So, you know. It's a thing. Phone's quality. Yeah, if people don't think it's quality, then they are morons, aren't they? They are morons. But hey, you can't. We can lead horses to water, but we can't make them drink. That's the problem. And if people don't want to drink, then they're idiots. That's fine. If you would like to starve. If you like to you know, die of thirst, that's chill. I don't really care. I've got bored of trying to correct people now, and it's just like, if you want to believe that, it's fine. It's good that bad opinions exist. Because if the bad opinions didn't exist, then that would put less light on the good opinions. So for all the bad opinions that exist, it makes what we say on this channel better. So it's really good that the shit opinions exist. Makes me look like a genius. But if you use ad blocker, then that's not supporting me, Hybrid. That's the problem. That's the thing. You shouldn't. I'm going to be a bit preachy here. You shouldn't really use ad blockers on YouTube for smaller creators, because they rely on like the ad revenue to eat food and pay mortgages. So if you want to do it on a channel that's like, you know, got billions of subscribers and is making a mint, then go for it. But if you're using an ad block for like smaller channels such as myself or LB or whoever, then that's a bit of an L move, to be honest. So just an FYI, because they do rely a lot on the ad revenue. So if you do use ad blocks when you're watching me, or indeed anyone else in the football space, set it so that it's not for these videos / channels, because you're not supporting them if you do that. Shut up, Musty. Shut up. Shave your head. Hello? Hello? No, yes. A premium Emperor is better for creators. A YouTuber gets more money from a person subscribing to YouTube Premium than someone not. So that's a different thing. Sub, you're fine. Although I am going to have to back invoice you now. So you now owe me £5 million, I'm afraid. I don't make the rules, but if you could send that to my bank details, which is just nobbinobs at bank.gol, that would be ideal. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, it's bizarre, and it is really bizarre because it's the exact opposite, and it's so funny because they keep saying it, but it's like, it's not true. No one hates Foden more than City fans online. No one hates him more. It's so funny. Do Miss and Nana Nobbins know Nobbins' true name? Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. What's the day job? Now, this is the job, Steve. That's the point. This is my job. I'm a content creator. We're doing well, Naveen. Yeah, but I'm still a small creator. Absolutely. Absolutely. Why do you think Arsenal can't click regarding outfield play compared to just 2 years ago when they slapped teams like Chelsea 5-0? So I don't think this is especially new. I think that lots of people have commented on this, and I do agree. I think it's about balance, basically. In 22-23, what did we see? We saw an Arsenal side get 50 points in 19 games. And how did we see them doing that? We saw them playing very pretty, thrilling, offensive, relatively direct football, but it was also measured. But they got burned a couple of times, especially against City. Twice, in fact, they got burned by us. They were very fun to watch. And I think you can put that down to the fact that it was their first season. With that, that was their first season of, being title contenders. Of course, no one expected them to be that. Relatively immature young side, etc., etc., etc. I think that scarred Arteta, and he was like, right, that is not happening again. That is not happening again. I am going to I'm going to recruit physical behemoths, and we are going to prioritize safety first football, essentially. We're still going to overwhelm our opponent, and we should still be good enough to win, but we're going to focus on safety first. And as we've seen this season, and I guess last season as well, before all the injuries happened and whatnot, we are going to focus on being cautious. We are going to break the deadlock with set pieces. We are then going to suffocate the opponent, which is a low-risk way of scoring. We're then going to suffocate the opponent and just overwhelm them and dominate the game from there. And we saw that against United. We've not yet seen Arsenal and Arteta get the balance right, necessarily. Now, they could win the league this season, and I was thinking about this. And I guess it's a philosophical question, because it depends on how you define progress. Have Arsenal gotten better? And have they improved? I don't think they have. And I'm going to stick with that conclusion, even if they win the title. Now, they have improved / progressed in that they've gone up the table. And if they win the title, of course, they've progressed and they've won a trophy. However, I think it's more, and you could argue that within the context of the context of the league, they have improved. So relative to the rest of the league, they have gotten better and they have improved. However, relative to themselves, I don't think that this Arsenal side is better than 22-23, nor do I think this Arsenal side is better than 23-24. What I actually think has happened is that, yeah, exactly, Musty. I think their opposition have gotten worse. So this is how I'm going to think about it. If I run, and let's say I was in the Olympics, and I run 100 meters in 10 seconds. I don't know how I've done that, but let's say that happened, and I finish second or third, and my competitors run it in 9.5 seconds, whatever. The next Olympics, I now do 100 meters in 10.5 seconds. So I was actually better at running 4 years ago. But my competitors have gotten older a bit. Maybe they're past their prime. Maybe they got injured. Maybe they did a bad start. And they ended up running the 100 meters in 13 seconds. I've got the gold medal, but my time's got worse. So I, as a runner, have gone backwards on an individual level, but I've ended up winning the gold medal. So I've gotten better in that sense. And that's how I'm viewing Arsenal. I think that if this was a City side, a semi-competent City side, I think that City side wins the title relatively comfortably against this Arsenal side. And I think that's quite an arrogant thing to say, but I still think it's a valid... Just because something's arrogant doesn't mean it's wrong. I think I truly believe that. I think I do. And it's not about downplaying Arsenal. I can't run. It's not about downplaying the achievement, because it's always an achievement to win. Because you could argue that being consistent and maintaining a similar level is a fantastic achievement in its own right. And I totally take that point. But I just don't think they've gotten better. And I think that they still haven't quite got the balance yet. So that's a long-winded answer to your question, but hopefully it has done that. Yeah, big up to Premium. Yeah, sub, you're going to have to get banned, I'm afraid now, matey. Oh, no, well, you get more from Super Chats, but still, YouTube take a lot from Super Chats as well. Patreon is the best if you want to support a creator. Patreon is the best, because that's like 8% that they take, whereas YouTube, it's 30%. Also, if you are a member of the channel, first of all, big up to you. If you're on the lowest membership, you should only be paying £2.99. If you're paying anything more than £2.99, then you are being mugged off by Apple. Cancel your membership, resubscribe, and then resubscribe on your computer, because the Apple Store, Apple takes like an extra 30% for themselves just because they're Apple. You don't need to be giving a big conglomerate in Apple an extra 30%. You end up paying more, and I don't see any of that money. So if you signed up to the YouTube membership through iOS, cancel it, resubscribe on laptop, because it'll save you 30% of money. You can save some money. Just an FYI. I know, right? Slick his feet, yeah. Arteta join the dark side. And if it works, and when it works, then he will be rewarded for it, and it's a thing, because he's found a way to win ugly and blah, 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 blah. But it's an interesting way of playing football, that's for sure. It's an interesting way of playing football. And they should give Arsenal credit where it's due. And I hope what I said there doesn't demean what they have done, because it shouldn't. But I think we can be fair at the same time and say that everyone else around them has gotten worse. And it's not pretty football. There's nothing wrong with accepting that and admitting that. And if you're an Arsenal fan, you don't care, because you win the title. It's like Chelsea under Mourinho. They didn't care if the football was shit when they were winning stuff. But when the football's shit and you're not winning stuff, then all of a sudden, then it's, what's the point? Yeah, and the attack just hasn't gotten better at all, has it? And yeah, it's this balance of, okay, you sign better attackers, but if you don't change the style of play, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can improve generally. I think the ceiling's come down from a top level, definitely. Right, I'm going to shoot off in a second, because we've been live for nearly 1 hour 40. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Just because you're arrogant doesn't mean you're wrong. Seems like a Nobbins shirt design. Yeah, honestly. That can go along with most people are idiots. Honestly. Is Twitch worse than YouTube? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Twitch is... I was watching a... just because I like to have some like videos on in the background. And like this, it was like this business person social media tier list. And he put like Twitch in like F tier, because there is no discoverability. And one in like... I don't know, 15,000 people can make it semi-competent, semi-workable, and the whole, you're not technically allowed to multi-stream thing for however long, that was a shambles as well. It's just like, oh, and it's also bad outside of gaming, it's pretty shit. But I like streaming on Twitch because it's fun. I don't stream on Twitch for the money, because there's nothing in it. It's just more fun to hang out with you guys. So we are going to be live on Twitch tonight, but there is no money in it. If I was a smart business person, I would sack off the Twitch and I would just spend that 2 hours editing TikToks and editing YouTube shorts. But you guys enjoy them, so I like to stream on Twitch because it's fun. Different change of pace, and it is fun. Yeah, bloody Villa, man, you're right. I have, yeah. Big up to the stuff supports me on the Patreon. Love that from you. Their striker is Gyökeres. You got to question the recruitment as well, haven't you? Gyökeres. That guy had a hat-trick, and he had a shit game. I don't care. I've never seen that before. How can a player score a hat-trick and be shit? Staggering. Love that from you, Punch a Bicycle. Or Kick. Oh no, he put that rock bottom because he said that Kick is like Twitch, but the difference is that you can destroy your brand by being associated with Kick. Because isn't that full of a load of racists and like fascists and Nazis or something? I don't know enough about it, but I'm sure it's something like that. Like if you get banned on Twitch for being a racist, you go to kick. That's like the pipeline or whatever. Something like that. Yeah, that's crazy. The essay one's been weird because I thought it was going to be fantastic, and it's a thing. Mate, it was absolutely horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. Yeah. One of them was a penalty as well. Crazy. Yeah, exactly, Fenway. Exactly. And hey, that could have easily been this channel. The amount of fucking Temu coming to me now, the amount of gambling sponsorships that I've said no to, is a madness. We're not. I'm not going down this. We're not. You know, if you want to gamble, of course, go for it. I've gambled before, but I'm not going to advertise it or advocate for it because I would not feel right doing that. No shades to anyone who does do that. Obviously, if you want to do that, that's fine. But I just morally can't do that. Fucking hell, bicycle. Oh god. Right. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got some value from today's stream. I'll say it one more time. We will be live over on Twitch tonight, probably 7 or 8 p.m. for Cork City, 3rd season. We are playing Man City false winger tactics, and it's going to be a beautiful time had by all. Big up to everyone. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll catch you tonight on the old Twitch. Yeah, fuck ice. Yeah. Goodbye, guys.